Good morning. So, tying in with one of the tower videos I'm about to do, I wanted to do a flight to EDDM as part of a series. So I'm going to fly into EDDM and then I'm going to fly out of EDDM. And first leg of the journey is going to be on an Airbus like usual. And then because the updated Switzerland and so on pack just dropped, I'm going to find Switzerland down here and fly into one of the new cities that they just added, kind of a bespoke. Sorry, it's nighttime and I'm blind to where Switzerland is for some ridiculous reason. Anyway, so I wanted to start by taking off from London, but I didn't want to do Heathrow again. I wanted to take off, which is probably going to be a big issue, from London City Airport. It's a smaller runway than you'd find over at Heathrow, much larger runways, and the departure path is very harsh simply because Heathrow takes up so much of the airspace and there's so many planes stacked, and you have all of downtown right here with all the tall buildings, that essentially I take off and immediately have to start making a hard right out and around to get my way down to the coastline, and then I have to avoid something for some reason, hard turn, and then fly over to Germany. And then the approach is a very interesting one where I kind of do this zigzagging up and downwind, so that'll be kind of interesting. And then I'm going to land on 8 left, which will match kind of how I'm going to set up to run the airport when I do tower, if I haven't already done it. And then I'm going to try to park somewhere in the airport. I think I set it up down here, yeah, gate 313 or something, if it registers what I asked it to. But we'll see how this goes. I think this will be a lot of fun. I'm flying on Lufthansa, which makes sense. So, with that said, let's jump in and enjoy a short little jaunt into Germany. All right, I am pleased that the load time was quite quick. FPS doesn't seem too bad, but I'm dipping from the 40s to the 16s to the 30s, so it's kind of all over the place. So while they have been making some improvements, it's still not perfect. Last time I flew, I was in the 747, so I just got to remember where all of my battery options are to get the power going, and it's right in my face, and I am just blinded to it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to let this power up, and then we'll get ready to go. Okay, I don't want to pull too far forward here and run into issues. Alright, we'll fix anything else on the flight because this is going to be crazy. Going flaps 3. I'm going to give full ramp up to thrust before I go. Looks like I'm going to have to make a slight turn to the right. Actually, I should be alright, but this is going to be very crazy. So, flaps 3. I don't know if I'm going to have enough lift to get off the ground here, but once I get going, it's going to be slow. And once I'm off the ground, the full thrust of this jet should really get me going. So, let's have some fun and see what happens. Okay, auto throttle's kicked on. I want to have flight director. I don't know why that's not there. Everything else should be good. All right, let's get going. Everything's ramped up. Like auto throttle may be limiting me. Yep, auto throttle wasn't giving me full thrust here, so I don't think we're gonna make it. I see V1 approaching. Nose is starting to come light. Pulling back. Ooh, that was close. Okay, gear is up. I can't bank yet. We're going close. We're at 100% thrust. Okay, raising flaps. That's going to help my speed. Let's throttle down. Raising flaps. Okay, perfect. Flaps off. Yeah, I know I went too fast, but I needed to. Okay, we got some maneuvering around London. There it goes. There's the Shard and some of the other cool buildings. You can see Heathrow in the distance. Draw distance is really disappointing. I don't remember if that's the Olympic Stadium or something else. Wow, that is really glitchy. Yeah, I can't see squat. All the city lights don't show up unless I angle my nose way up. Coming through a major cloud. Okay. Auto throttle, you took me a little faster than I thought, but that's all right. Okay. Really disappointing that I can't see any of the lights properly unless I look all the way forward. Something's really gone wonky. Let's see what happens if I zoom. Nope, zoom out doesn't do it. So that's really disappointing. The joy of flying out of London and into EDDM is completely lost. We'll see you when we get there. Alright, so we are on final approach. You can see I'm having some speed issues again with the autopilot. I can see just barely the runway lights appearing out there, so really trying to drop the plane down so I come in on a good smooth approach vector. Get these speed brakes in a little bit now that I'm coming down. There we go, arm the system. And now that we're flying idle, we should be able to come in much better now. Okay, I hope that the arm on that works. I'm going to fire up approach, let it take control now. Yep. Got a nice approach. Looking good. We should clear this cloud, and there's the airport right in front of me. See, PAPI lights are better now. We're angling up quite heavily. Okay. We're holding about 130, which is fine. Let's get the mouse on autopilot, ready to disconnect. I think in reality, a pilot would have killed autopilot by now. I'm waiting just a bit. Okay, slowing the throttles. Yep, we are too high, so pulling those down a bit. Autopilot off. Ah. Crap. Okay, I should have just grabbed the throttles and, oops, not individually, but I should have just, okay. Guess I can't do that. Turn you guys off. Yeah. So, I need to figure out what that forward button does, because obviously I didn't arm them. They were in full manual for me. So the approach went well. The landing wasn't bad, but I had issues getting cut over to the internal menu to try and force the speed brakes on. And then I got messed up by not looking down enough, and then my plane started to lift again because I came in a bit too fast at the end there. But not too bad. I think it was a tolerable landing. Overall, definitely not the best that I've ever done. Not the worst either, so. Okay, let's slow this guy down a little bit so that we can make our turn to the gate. Okay, I don't think I've ever seen a fuel truck come, but hey, why not? minutes while this thing's beeping at me annoyedly. I want to zoom in here and kind of see because... So it is armed. Okay, so this is retracted and that's armed. So it's kind of like a gear shift where I have to shove it. That's kind of annoying. Okay, so that explains it. That's what happened. So that's armed right there, and then they'll auto deploy when I hit the ground. So next flight, when I take off from this airport and go into Switzerland, I want to make that work, and then in Switzerland we'll fly in some of the smaller planes. But I want to get these spoilers to auto deploy. That's really kind of the last thing that I don't have proper working utilization on. It worked great in the 747, but I have yet to have it function properly in this airplane. But that was a fun flight, good scenery. I did have to correct the time a little bit because I did set it for about 6:10, 6 a.m. And when I loaded the game and I pulled up the weather, I realized that it was saying it was 5:10 in the morning by the time I got airborne. And I was like, that's an hour away from where I had it set. So I jumped the hour ahead and got it set properly. And then at that point, everything looked nice and worked the way it was intended to. So fun flight. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. The approach was kind of funky. Landing wasn't bad, but again, we'll get it working for next time. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.